Next up, we have our second Gen 5 Pokemon, Hydreigon. This fearsome dragon draws inspiration from 3 appropriately spine-chilling sources, being the mythological Hydra, Godzilla's King Ghidorah, and the German language. This theme of terror continues with Getsis in the Generation 5 game, and anyone who's faced him knows that his Hydreigon lived up to its name as the brutal Pokemon, especially if one is familiar with the blood-curdling theory behind its minimum happiness and Getsis' missing eye. Anyways, today we find out if Hydreigon left a similarly sinister trail in the competitive scene. So, how good was Hydreigon actually? Hail Hydra. But before we start, this video is sponsored by Amino. Amino is a great place to find communities for basically any interest, whether it be anime, video games, music, comic books, and Pokemon? Of course they have Pokemon. And what's extra cool about Amino is they just launched their new story feature, a feature that allows content creators like yours truly to publish shorter but still great quality content that would otherwise be overshadowed by my other longer videos on YouTube. And I just published a new story called 7 Pokemon that were good competitively when they debuted. So if you want to see extra quick content and also support me, click the link in the description or search for Amino apps, find my global profile by searching False Swipe Gaming, make sure to follow me and click the bell to know when I'm posting more content, and check out the stories on my global profile. And in this video, we'll be going over these competitive formats. It took a while for Hydreigon to be noticed in its debut generation. The plethora of powerful dragons running around made it difficult for it to stand out. Garchomp, Latios, and Dragonite, among others, made for fierce competition. However, in Black and White 2, sand balance teams rose to prominence for their reliability at getting neutral matchups across the board, which was valuable in a metagame as potentially volatile as Black and White. It was discovered that Hydreigon excelled in ripping these teams apart like nothing else. With a simple set of Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, and Superpower or Focus Blast, with Roost to offset Sand and Life Orb, it crushed every Pokemon on these teams easily. Think bulky Pokemon like Heatran, Ferrothorn, Skarmory, and Gliscor. Salamence or Dragonite weren't nearly as effective at pulling the set off, since they had much lower special attack stats and were weak to Stealth Rock, which viciously cut into their longevity. Its expansive move pool also gave it other options, most notably Dark Pulse for Jellicent, Mew, and Reuniclus. The severity of its threat level was magnified by the fact that Tyranitar's Pursuit was useless against it, so it could safely switch out and not get superpowered by Scarf or a healthy Chople Berry. This was fine since Tyranitar struggled to safely pivot in. Hydreigon was also immune to spikes, so it stuck around. However, Hydreigon did have its issues. Its speed was middling compared to the other offensive Pokemon in the metagame that also hit it super effectively with dragon and fighting moves, namely Garchomp, Latios, Keldeo, and Terrakion, while its ice weakness meant it wouldn't go too far against rain offense. However, even sand and rain offense ran Ferrothorn, so Hydreigon could potentially grab a KO, having accomplished something before becoming death fodder. Overall though, it can't be understated how popular and powerful sand balance was in the Black and White metagame, meaning Hydreigon was a reliable pick that consistently stomped through teams, leaving ruin in its wake. Now in Gen 5 VGC, Hydreigon was a massive threat in VGC 2011, which was the era of VGC that was Unova Dex only. It had solid bulk, and it was a natural doubles Pokemon with its Earthquake immunity thanks to Levitate, which also let it partner with non-Haxorus Earthquake users, and also it resisted Heat Wave. It naturally matched up well against several common Pokemon like Chandelure and Jellicent, the latter of which it partnered up well thanks to Jellicent's ability to mess with Trick Room teams that would otherwise turn Hydreigon's good speed on it, while Hydreigon could keep Jellicent healthy by using Surf. Now, Hydreigon had to watch out for Pokemon that could outspeed it and one-hit KO it, most notably Volcarona, Terrakion, and various fighting types, which prompted some Hydreigon to carry Chople Berry to take fighting type attacks. But despite this drawback, Hydreigon still does a lot of damage. Hydreigon's high offenses alongside gems, like the Dragon Gem and Life Orb, made it an absolute kill machine, nuking almost everything in sight. Gen 5 VGC and 2011 especially wasn't too well documented, but of the few notable placements we found, Brian Huff won Worlds in the junior division with a Hydreigon on his team, while Shota Yamamoto and Inosh Sakar got 4th and 3rd respectively in the World Seniors division, and Hydreigon actually won Worlds in the Masters division as a crucial part of Ray Rizzle's team. Its attributes were on full display in the final battle, taking a Hidden Power Ice and blanking an Earthquake while picking up a KO in the opening turns. Then the new additions of Garchomp and Latios in 2012 meant there were more Pokemon that could both outrun and one-hit KO Hydreigon. However, all three heads did do something they barely dared to dream of. It absolutely dominated the seemingly unkillable Cresselia. Cress was also actually a terrific partner for Hydreigon, as it helped against these two dragons as well as Terrakion, and could Trick Room or Thunder Wave to assist with Hydreigon's lower speed against faster teams. Hydreigon's Fire Blasts were also far more menacing than Garchomp's, and they greatly outstripped Latios' Hidden Power Fire. This allows it to absolutely crush Bronzong, which would also give the other two dragons trouble. 2012 still isn't the pinnacle of archival, but there were a few notable placements for Hydreigon. Tony Chiang, aka Chinese Dude, used it to win Nationals in Toronto, while Tolar Webb used it to win Worlds in the Seniors Division. As for the World's Masters Division, Hydreigon appeared twice in top 8, with Sejun Park coming in 5th and Ray Rizzle once again using it to win it all. Hydreigon was rolling right along as a premier 5th gen VGC Pokemon. The 2013 metagame was largely the same, save for a few event moves, and Hydreigon continued to be excellent in the same vein as before. 2013 was better documented, and as such we found a lot of placements for Hydreigon since it's so powerful. To save on time, we are limiting the placements to top 8s only. The following placements are all from the senior division. Umberto P reached top 8 at the Italian Nationals, Luca P was runner-up at the German Nationals, Gabrielle S reached top 4, and Mark M reached top 8 at the UK Nationals. Finally, Marcus Liu reached 5th, and Ben Hickey got 2nd with Hydreigon at Worlds. The following placements are for the Masters division. At the Italian Nationals, Matteo G won, while Eloy H reached 2nd, and Michael R reached top 8. At the German Nationals, Alberto G won, Jamal M reached 2nd, Michael R reached the semifinals, and Matteo G reached top 8. At the UK Nationals, Ben K won, and finally Matthias Helmut reached top 8 at Worlds with it. That's a whole lot of winning and high placements, and Hydreigon concluded 5th gen VGC as a top Pokemon in all 3 seasons. Hydreigon went from having no opposing Pokemon able to switch into it to several safe switch-ins with the introduction of Fairy types, who resisted Dark, were immune to Dragon, and whose stab was quadruple effective on Hydreigon to boot. The power level of OU also increased significantly with the introduction of Megas. Thus, Hydreigon immediately dropped to UU. Fairies and Megas were still present there, but the surroundings and overall power level led to Hydreigon becoming not just a tier staple, but an absolute bulldozer of an offensive threat. Its Dark Pulse was no longer resisted by Steel. It quickly became the best Choice Scarfer in the tier for its solid bulk and resist, allowing it to switch in and threaten to crush something like Mega Aerodactyl with Draco Meteor, or keep momentum with U-turn on the switch. Its mix set made a return once it was realized that Hydreigon's incredible coverage included anti-fairy options. Its Iron Tail hammered the incredibly common Florges. Luring it and hitting it for a ton of damage was incredibly helpful for fighting types. Even though Draco Meteor had its power lowered to 130 base power from 140, it still hammered everything that wasn't a fairy or Blissey, the latter of which was destroyed by Superpower. Hydreigon explored other options as well. Taunt made it an excellent stall breaker, shutting down healing attempts from Alomomola, which sometimes used Wish, Protect, and Regenerator to stall the Life Orb variants out, while Choice Specs was more prediction reliant, but less prone to being worn down, and packed absolutely brutal power. Hydreigon was crucial for offense and balance teams to function. It was one of the most defining Gen 6 UU Pokemon, and considered by many top players to be the best Pokemon in the tier as a whole. Then, after Hoopa Unbound was banned from OU for the insane power of its balance-breaking Specs Dark Pulse that now cleaved through Heatran and Ferrothorn, some players attempted to recreate this with Hydreigon, and the results were actually quite good. Despite Hydreigon's lower special attack, it had several distinct advantages, the most notable being its pursuit resistance. Hoopa was trapped quite often, even though it wasn't actually weak to the move, because of its incredibly low defense. Hydreigon's immunity to spikes meant it was harder to passively wear down, too, and it didn't mind the Earthquake immunity with how common Gliscor and Scarflander's Therian were. Speaking of Lando's U-turn being only super effective instead of quadruple effective like it was against Hoopa made a big difference. The same goes for Assault Vest Tornadus T, a common switch-in. Now you may be thinking, what about Clefable? Wasn't that the biggest obstacle? At least Hoopa had Stab Psychic for it. Turns out, Hydreigon's Specs Flash Cannon smacked Clefable really hard. It didn't need to one-hit KO it if it hit Clefable on the switch, since it then wouldn't be able to switch into Dark Pulse later. Flash Cannon also came with the benefits of hitting Tyranitar hard and shattering Mega Diancie. But even if it was only for Clefable, it'd be worth it, since Clefable was the only thing standing between it Hit, and Dark Pulses and Draco Meteors crushing the Common Spike's balance teams. Eventually, an Expert Belt set popped up, and it still comfortably 2-hit KO'd Clefable on the switch while using Dark Pulse, Fire Blast, and Surf's coverage to slam everything else. Both sets were brutally difficult to counter. Overall, it took a while and then some, but once people saw what Hydreigon was capable of, it became part of the OU metagame. Then in Gen 6 VGC in 2014, power creep came for Hydreigon. Megas made the metagame faster and stronger, while fairies were fantastic natural stops, with Azumarill in particular threatening the setup. However, once the meta settled a little, it was found that Hydreigon was still excellent. The steel nerf was crucial, as it made Dark Pulse one of the strongest attacks around against Aegislash. Another benefit of Hydreigon was its Sucker Punch resistance and Fire Blast, which made it excellent against Mega Mawile outside of Trick Room. It could run a broad range of items and run them all viably. The old standby of Life Orb was as tough to switch into as ever, while Choice Scarf became prominent as it made up for its middling speed by letting it drop a Draco on faster Pokemon like Mega Charizard Y and Mega Kangaskhan. The lack of gems also meant Haban Berry became a viable choice to let it go one-on-one with other dragons like Garchomp and Salamence. Even Choice Specs was a fine choice, with the brute strength allowing it to surpass critical KO threshold. Although it didn't seem like a metagame stomper at first glance, it was such a solid, reliable Pokemon that could run numerous sets and do them all well that it found itself on a ton of teams. So many teams, in fact, that its usage ended up being so high that we had to limit it solely to winning placements until Worlds. It had a slow start, but began to dominate the usage stats in the second half of the season. Anyway, those placements are Alistair, aka Vlade, at Perth Regionals, and Alachagozla taking first place at the US Nationals with one. At Worlds, Hydreigon appeared 3 times in the top 8, coming in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, with Colin Hare, Marcus Liu, and Ryosuke Kosuge, respectively. Then in 2015, the Pokédex expanded, and the fearsome Mega Salamence notably joined the fray. But Hydreigon still fired on all cylinders, functioning the same ways it always had. Cresselia was back to get crushed by Dark Pulse, potentially even being one-hit KO'd by Choice Specs variants, as well as Aegislash. Its placements have been limited to wins until Worlds once again. These placements were Miguel Lope Moreno at the Mexico City Regionals, and Nicholas K in the Juniors Division of the Australian Nationals. At Worlds in the Masters Division, Leos Woltersdorf reached 8 with it, continuing Hydreigon's streak of 5 World Masters appearances in a row. Now, I know the placements we mentioned here may not seem like a lot, but if you're doubting Hydreigon, you're welcome to ward through the swaths of second and below placements it had throughout the season that are scattered across the internet. But luckily, we have a Google Doc in the description below that has all the ones we found if you're interested. Unfortunately, Hydreigon's world streak was snapped the following year, where Hydreigon pretty much entirely fell out of the metagame, at least compared to its previous years, as a result of the restricted Pokemon coming down. Primal Groudon and Kyogre were above its pay grade, and fairy types were one thing, but Xerneas was entirely another. Now, there's no shame in being unable to tangle with those though, and Hydreigon had a fantastic streak up to this point. Its only notable appearances were an unknown Brendan reaching 3rd at the South African Nationals, and Ranger Buddy reaching 8th at the Stockholm Regionals. But overall, in Gen 6 VGC, Hydreigon was certainly a powerful threat that you had to account for up until 2016. Magearna and the Tapus making the metagame even more fairy focused meant Hydreigon started Generation 7 in UU, but there it was excellent once more. The concentrated nuke that Z moves were really gave it a boost. Dragonium Z was especially excellent because it jacked up the power of the already strong Draco Meteor into a dizzyingly powerful, devastating Drake with no special attack drawback, meaning Hydreigon was free to rain a fully powered Draco on the opponent afterwards. And of course, it was still a tremendous Choice Scarfer. In Ultra Sun and Moon, it gained Defog and was able to support its team even more. It was a great last move on the Scarf variant to give its team more options, but it mostly found use on the Z sets, allowing it to be useful even when it was walled, such as when facing Togekiss. Hydreigon was a great switch into the popular Stealth Rock Crocodile, allowing it to defog without much trouble. If it chose to run Fightinium Z, it could blow away the popular Mega Aggron and bulky Empoleon, then permanently removing their hazard, as well as catching Cobalion trying to come in for free on defog to get the hazards back up, or possibly looking for a justified boost off Dark Pulse. However, this isn't to say Hydreigon relied entirely on Z moves to function. If you wanted to use a Z move on a different Pokemon, Hydreigon could simply switch items and free up that option for you while still being an excellent Pokemon. It could get up to its old tricks with Life Orb, Choice Specs, or even Dread Plate, so it could spam Dark Pulse without restriction or drawback. Overall, it was one of the best, most diverse Pokemon in UU, capable of fulfilling a variety of speaking roles and consistently performing in battle. Speaking of something it did once more, it was realized that Hydreigon was quite decent in OU. Its typing allowed it to stand in the way of two incredibly dangerous OU threats in Heatran and Ash Greninja. And not only that, but it could defog away Heatran's Stealth Rock as it ran away in fear of Earth Power, while Ash Greninja was Specs, so if it attacked, Hydreigon just roosted it off, and if it spiked, then Hydreigon defogged it immediately. It wasn't a hard counter, but it was a terrific interim measure against two of OU's biggest threats that kept up the pressure itself. Its solid speed tier alongside a powerful Black Hole Eclipse also let it outrun and slam threats like Tapu Lele and Kyurem Black, while also being threatening to disintegrate Landorus Therian. Earth Power made sure Magearna and Tapu Koko weren't coming in unscathed either. So overall, Hydreigon was a fine Pokemon with the ability to fit in on many teams. It gained popularity and established itself as a legitimately viable OU Pokemon. Then in Gen 7 VGC, Hydreigon has a niche in VGC 2018, since the Scarf set is always decent enough, but a Tapu being on every team is just too tough to make it worth using most of the time. It wasn't a bad Pokemon per se, in that you wouldn't cripple yourself too badly by bringing one. It was still Hydreigon after all, but you could definitely do significantly better. The popularity of Kartana made non-Scarf sets too difficult to safely use, in case anyone had any ideas about team support with Tailwind. Turns out that Scarf was the item of choice on roughly 98% of the Hydreigon that appeared that season, which admittedly was not a lot. The few that did appear were used by Jacob Swilly, who reached 7th at the Dallas Regionals, Frisia, who reached 2nd in the Korean Winter League, Garam, who reached top 4 in the Korean Spring League, Cho Mina, who reached 30th at the Korean Nationals, Kirill Shishov, who reached 6th at the Russian Nationals, Bridger Snow, who reached 3rd at Anaheim Regionals, and Estefan Valdebenito, who reached 2nd at the Santiago Special Event. The latter two were surprising, as those events used the 2019 Sun Series rules and featured the restricted Pokemon. Just like in 2016, Hydreigon couldn't handle those incredibly strong Pokemon and only saw use there. In the Moon Series where Z-moves became available, it was used once by Kyungmin Jeon to reach top 16 of Season 2 of the Korean League. That, however, was the end of the road for Hydreigon, and it hasn't been seen since. Unfortunately, a rough ending for a historically excellent Pokemon. And that's it. So how good was Hydreigon actually? Well, it's never been an OU superstar, but it's had a solid role in each iteration of the tier it's been around for, once people realize what separates it from the other dragons, even when it was hit harder than anything else by the fairy type. And of course, it's been one of the best UU Pokemon for the past 2 generations. It was a dominant VGC Pokemon for the first 5 years of its existence, including back-to-back Worlds wins in its first 2 years. Then the restricted Pokemon happened in 2016, then the Tapu Happy metagames of Gen 7 happened, and that was that. However, it had a pretty phenomenal run overall, striking fear in battlers with more than just its appearance, especially since it has a habit of being forgotten. But remember, the unseen Hydreigon is the deadliest. Hail Hydra. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, if you liked the video and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to False Swipe Gaming for more weekly Pokemon content. And in the comments, I want to know, what do you think about competitive Hydreigon? Do you think it needs a buff to become a full OU staple? Or do you think it's already too powerful? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Also, of course, thank you so much to our patrons for continued support of our videos. And thank you to all of you watching as well. And follow my crew on these social media platforms. And that's all I got. See you next time, everyone.